Okay, so hi everyone. Hello. It's really a pleasure meeting you all, but very happy to be here with you today. And of course, all of you have endured me for so many years, so thank you for that. And I would like to take a back seat from tomorrow. Whenever I will come in, I'll come in for a while. But to set the stage for why are we here and what are we doing as coaches in general. So it's a very small session that I am going to conduct with all of you. Of course, it is going to be interactive, but let me just share what it is. Okay, so as coaches, all of us need to develop reflective practices, right? Because our job as a coach is to make client reflect about themselves, about the affairs in their life, and about affairs they have with their colleagues or whatever in that sense. So our job is to make client think. Our job is to make client reflect. But also it is important for us as coaches to develop our own reflective practice. Okay, in some sense it is also known as contemplative practice. Okay, I would repeat, contemplative practice. Okay, so and contemplative practices, I thought that we have learned a lot of tools, techniques. So this time I thought that I would just like to increase all of our awareness, including myself, towards a very unusual reflective practice. Okay, and before I talk about that, let me give a bit of a background on that. So what happens is that our mind, our brain is tuned, conditioned to think on set patterns. Okay, even before we realize, our beliefs influence our thinking, our values also influence our thinking. Okay, the purpose with which we operate also influence our thinking, and before we even realize, the judgment has already been taken. And all of you are aware that as coaches, it really comes in the way. So almost 2500 years ago, one man walked. He's known as Buddha. Yeah. So eventually from India it went into China. From there it went to Japan, and over 2500 years, several, especially I think in 11th or 12th century. Okay, not of Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli, but 11th or 12th century BC. What happened that people started thinking that how to make people reflect on themselves, because Buddha is all about reflecting on yourself. Yeah, so some of the Chinese masters started a practice called how to make the brain stop thinking from set patterns, how to break the stereotypes of the mind. And they came up with riddles. Okay, and then eventually it started known to be Zen koans. Okay, K-O-A-N-S, koans. So Zen koans are such riddles or dialogues or such anecdotes which breaks the logical patterns. And they say that, of course, for our own discussion, reflection, I might ask you that if I narrate a particular riddle, what do you make sense of it? So they are known and they are defined as surgical tools to tear into the mind, completely crush through the set process, and then suddenly it prevents thinking. Because you try to apply logic, it doesn't work. You try to apply set thinking, it doesn't work. So in Zen practice, and it is said that there are about 1700 authenticated Zen koans, which helps chew the brain, and suddenly brain cannot think, but from there enlightenment emerges. Because all the spiritual masters, not only Buddha, but if you talk about across all faiths, talk about Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Ramakrishna, okay, Father Anthony de Mello, Rumi, all of them have said one thing, okay, that between us and Supreme Consciousness, actually there is no difference. The duality is created by the mind. So mind is a curtain which stands between us and Supreme Consciousness. Now, sometimes it takes months, years, or many lifetimes to lift that curtain so that we merge with the Supreme Consciousness. But these Zen riddles, they have a power that it suddenly stops the thinking, and when the thinking is stopped, there is a chance, there is a belief that this curtain is lifted and the same river merges with the ocean, which is Supreme Consciousness. Okay? And same thing, it has a power in these many things, as Osho says. So Osho says that when you are laughing, you are not thinking. When you are dancing, you are not thinking. When you are in love, you are not thinking. When you are singing, when you are listening, you are not thinking. So whenever thinking stops, which is otherwise very difficult because the brain's set pattern is to swing between the future and the past, okay, and very little moment in the present. So without much further explanation and setting of the context, I just would like to tell you that these Zen koans have immense potential to trigger the opportunity for transformation, opportunity for meeting with the Supreme Consciousness. Even for a few, it's like nectar, right? So nectar, even few drops are good enough. So with that, what are those Zen koans? Okay, so I would like to start with one, and perhaps in the time that we have together, we can cover perhaps 4 or 5. They are short, either anecdotes or dialogue between the two, or riddles. Okay, and I'll share all the resources with you, including book references, website references, also koan's collection with you. Okay, after the session, I'll share with everybody. But basically, they say that sometimes Zen masters, this is the way of teaching or upbringing of a pupil. So there are 12 gates, and each gate has set of koans. Sometimes it may take few moments, few hours, few days, or few months, or few years for somebody to just reflect on one. And then, as they say in practice, that the answers doesn't matter. Thinking matters, and more attempt to think works otherwise. So, and only the master can actually correctly identify whether you have solved that riddle or not. But for our understanding, we may go about discussing, also clarifying what we think about it. But I claim to have no right answers, because koans does not have any right or wrong answer. Yeah, because the gate, it's a gateless gate, so there is no destination. Yeah, all right. So let me start with one. I'm just reading from what I have collected. So are we all ready for the first one? Okay, so I'll read and then I'll ask you that when you read, when you hear this, what comes up for you? Okay, so this is the first one, and then we go towards more and more so-called difficult ones. Okay, so this is first is a dialogue. So when asked why he practiced Zen, the student says, "Because I intend to become a Buddha." Upon hearing that, Zen master got up, went to the corner, picked up a brick and started polishing the brick. So student asked, "What are you doing? Please give me the answer." Zen master said that, "I'm trying to make a mirror," and he went silent. "I'm polishing the brick and trying to make a mirror," and then he went silent. Share what comes up for you. And again, there are no right or wrong answers.
So it's a never-ending process. There's no end to it. It's like infinite.
Okay. Sure. Any other thought?
I think the answer is what you want to, why you're doing, I want to become Buddha. By doing that Zen meditation, you become a Buddha. Is that right? Is what the master shows by polishing the brick.
Yeah.
And he wants to become a mirror. So what you do need not, I think that's what I feel. Disconnect with the
Yes. Okay.
what you aspect.
Yeah.
So to me, it looks like when the student says, I want to become a Buddha, he started polishing the brick because he possibly is trying to say that you cannot become Buddha. You can become the best of what you are. Just the way a brick cannot become mirror by polishing. It can change the shape, but the brick will never become mirror. So it's essentially you can try to be the best of who you are. But if you try to say that I want to be someone else, that's like you are one unique person. So that's what he was possibly trying to say. That's what
Okay. All right.
My thought was that just by practicing the meditation, so like a brick cannot just be polished and become a mirror, so only by doing one particular practice you cannot attain a certain state. Because I think by Buddha he meant the state of Buddha, and only this thing cannot lead you to that. There has to be more, is what I...
Yeah.
For me, it's a very different interpretation. It's just that the kind of practice that you put into something and that one-mindedness that you have towards achieving something could be a state that could lead you to whatever you want to acquire.
Yeah. But from where I was reading about it, so it is also mentioned by one of the Zen masters. So he said that, and this is equivalent to, I would like to refer what Dr. Shikumar Rao says. Okay, that so what is the purpose of cleaning the dish? So somebody would say that I want to clean, I'm washing the dishes because I want to clean it up. That's what he says, that cleaning the dish is the end goal, which will eventually happen. Your purpose of washing the dishes is to wash dishes so well that it gets cleaned automatically. And then he leads to that invest in the process, not the outcome. Yeah. So while cleaning the dish, I need to focus on not cleaning the dish, washing the dish. It gets cleaned automatically. Okay. So this master says that just like as some of you have said, that you can't polish a brick and make a mirror out of it, your very purpose that I want to become a Buddha, it's a gate that you have created for yourself. Meditation is a gateless journey, goalless journey, and if you are supposed to attain Buddhahood, it's not outside, it's inside. So the moment you say, I want to become Buddha, like you said, I want to become someone else, your meditation is gone. So is first one good? Shall we go for the second one? Okay, and this is about a family. This is anecdote. So some Zen master was praised by his neighbors as he is the one who is the epitome of leading a pure life. Everybody respected him. A beautiful Japanese girl whose parents owned a food store lived near him. One day her parents discovered that their daughter was pregnant, and this made her parents angry. She would not confess to who the man was. After a lot of harassment, she named that Zen master that he is the father of my child. In great anger, parents went to the master, started confronting him. So upon listening everything, the master said, "Is that so?" That's the only thing he would say. Again went silent. After the birth, young woman's parents brought the baby and given to him that you now raise the child. Parents said, this is your child. What did the master say? Is that so? He accepted the baby, took care of the child. He started obtaining milk from the neighbors and everything else that is needed to raise the child. After a few years, young mother could not stand it longer. She told the parents the truth, that the real father of the child was a young man working in the fish market and was coming to supply goods to their store. The mother and father at once, they regretted a lot, went to the master to ask for forgiveness. They apologized at length and to collect the child back. What did the master say? Is that so? And handed over the child back to the baby's grandparents.
I think it's not about being right or wrong, good or bad, judging situation. It's being about in the moment and detached from the outcome. And I think that's what I was trying to say.
All right.
The way I look at it, all of this, or the way the Zen master is looking at it, is everything is prasadam, right? Whatever is coming and not coming, he's accepting. So anything that's come his way is prasadam. So in all situations, he was not attached, and he said
Non-attachment, yeah.
For me is these are things that you cannot change. So this is out of my control. So is that so? Okay, I accept it
Yeah,
and I move on.
yeah.
And whatever changes keep coming up, more like adaptability, if I would say that.
I think for me it was more about being comfortable with his own truth.
Yeah,
He knew what he had done or not done, but he didn't want to waste his time and effort in validating or invalidating
Yes.
it. And being
Brilliant.
comfortable in their own truth
Yeah.
allowed him to just be
yeah,
rather than to live up
yes.
to what was going around him.
Okay, wonderful.
I think I would go with what Akhil said. Not letting the external world define your reality. You know what it is, so you say, is that so? Also, on a lighter note, I wonder what is the tone of the last is that so was.
Yeah,
Every time he was said something, first time accused of being an impious man or whatever, blah blah. He said, "Is that so?" Next time said, "Child is yours. Is that so?" And finally, not yours, somebody else's, and you are good. Is that so? So possibly to me, it looks like, or the way I see it is that he was trying to differentiate between facts and beliefs. And when he say, "Is that so?" Is that the truth? Or is that your belief? So, is that so? Am I a bad man? Is that so? Sure, that's your belief. And you need to differentiate between facts and belief because the worldview changed based on the change of the belief, the new information. The Zen master was exactly the same person, but whether he's worth worshipping or worth condemning changed based on an information that they believed to be true and created belief. So, it's a belief who created the reality.
Yes.
And he was questioning whether what you're saying is reality or is just a belief. That's what it sounds like.
yeah.
So I think here there is a very strong message, at least for me, that whatever happens in the world is to, I think, is to not to react immediately and just to pause. I think, and that moment of pause brings you the calmness and the tranquility to deal with any situation.
Yes, so it also suggests, like, again, thank you for all the expressions very well. It's about being equanimous. Yeah, so when as you move further in your journey, coaching, spirituality, many people talk to me about that. That's a paradox of going on this journey, being equanimous. So it prevents you from being extremely sad or a drop of a hat, not Pungi's hat, but at a drop of a hat. We fluctuate between angry, sad, upset. Also, if I got something as I wanted, I become happy, I become elated, yeah, all of that. So what happens is a pendulum, if you visualize a pendulum, it moves this way, it moves this way. So people, and the entire Zen process is about non-duality. So if you choose that I don't want to be sad, I don't want to be upset, so that will happen definitely. But which also would mean that when you win, you will not be elated. You are not on the top of the world, because mountain and a valley both goes hand in hand. Yeah. So that's the state of equanimity. So whenever we want to, again, that Buddha's 4 Mahavakyas also, he talks about the same thing, that if you don't want to be sad, that will definitely happen, but which also means that then you will not be very happy, very elated. Yeah. So that's the equanimity. You book the package. Yeah. Okay. So ready for a few more? Yes. Okay. Now again it's a story, but then it is then we are going into a very, very reflective ones. Okay. So 2 monks argued about a flag. So one monk said the flag is moving. Other monk says no, flag is still, wind is moving. Yeah. So an enlightened monk passed by and he found them arguing. What are you discussing? That please wait, please give us the verdict. You are an enlightened one. So this guy is saying flag is moving. I am saying wind is moving. Flag is still. If wind is not there, flag will be still. And what enlightened monk must have said? Any guesses? Your eyes are brilliant, absolutely. He said, neither the flag, neither the wind, it's your mind that is moving. Yeah? Great. Super. So, let's look at, and again then we'll have a kind of takeaway kind of discussion. A few more. A monk asked the enlightened master, how does an enlightened one return to the ordinary world? How does an enlightened one return to the ordinary world? And the enlightened monk replied. So, what do you think must be the reply?
There's only one way.
You can't return, okay? Okay. There is one more on that as well. So here the enlightened monk reply by action. He gets up, breaks one mirror and went silent. So what does that mean? So he got up, breaks the mirror and came back and sit down. So furthermore, the disciple says, I couldn't get it. So again he gets up, walks to the garden, he picks up a fallen flower and tries to put it back on the branch. So what does that mean? Can he do that? And that is the moment where the disciple got enlightened. Which means that what she said, the enlightened one, once you have gone on that path, cannot come back to ordinary world. Okay, now a few quick ones, okay, but short ones, but may require a lot of reflection. And this is one of the most famous Zen koans. If you clap with 2 hands, what do you get? Sound of a clap. Then what is the sound of clapping with one hand?
So while clapping, we are talking about two hands. So one hand represents my own self, and then the second hand represents someone else. So till the time I am in my own space, there is a silence. But the moment someone comes in your space, yes, there is a noise and a bit distraction. So I would narrate like that.
Okay.
It reminds me of something from the Landmark Forum. Life is empty and meaningless. And it is meaningless that it is meaningless. So to clap with one hand is meaningless. We are all trying to find something in it. But please clap with one hand.
Yeah.
There is always a air energy level, right? When you reach to a Zen level, right, you can actually hear the interaction between your body and the energy flowing
body.
in the system. So actually, when you hear the sound.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just elaborate on that. I think Kedar has something to say.
So when you clap, the sound is produced, and that sound in a way disturbs the harmony or equilibrium or whatever. So the moment you introduce a resistance, which is coming from your second hand, if I'm just doing like this, there is no sound, there is no disturbance, no equilibrium.
Movement.
The moment I introduce a resistance by introducing my other hand, and then in that friction or in that collision, creates that sound ripples or something. So I saw it like a resistance, the disturbance that is created by resistance. Let's put it like that.
So there are a lot of interpretations by several masters. So I'm just sharing a couple of them. So they say that if you do it for years, you will be able to hear the sound which is not heard by the ears. Okay, so they call it what is that sound? I'm forgetting that. So Om also has a sound, right? So that quantum sound or whatever they say, I don't remember exactly. Yeah, so it cannot be heard, but you will be able to hear because you will reach that at that level. And also to be able to hear the sound, your internal silence, that needs to be at the deepest level, so that the sounds which you are otherwise not able to hear, you'll be able to hear, something like that. Okay. And okay, so going further, quick ones, next one or two in the time that we have. Now, when you can do nothing, when you don't do anything in that sense, what are you doing? When you are not doing anything, what are you doing? Correct.
That is the stage when we are in our Zen. So when our consciousness is with the Supreme Consciousness. So that is what we are doing if we are doing anything, but
Yeah.
Like what they say, you do Sita Pragna or whatever, you're still physically doing things, but you dissolve the ego, so you get in the state of not doing anything. Maybe that's the stage of not doing anything.
It's not I who is doing
it. Like I am not doing it.
It's universe who is doing it. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So again, in these riddles, the purpose is not to find an answer, but to reflect.
Yes.
So see how different reflections are coming in, which are not automated, which are just thought out in this moment. Okay. Now last two. So second last is, one day Manjushri stood outside the gate. So the master called her. Manjushri, why do you not enter? Manjushri replied, I do not see myself on the outside. Why do I enter?
I read something a while ago, and it said that many people are not willing to let go of their pain and suffering because they don't know who they would be without the pain and suffering. So sometimes people don't want to enter the gate of enlightenment or even peace and serenity because outside of them they don't know who would they be.
Correct. Kedar would have shairi on that.
When your ego is dissolved, or when there is no मैं in you, you become a part of the universe or that soul power. So then there is no more outside, inside, it's all one. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Adding to what she said, shairi or just two line, but not by me definitely. And you'll be surprised, this Advaitvad shairi, the sher was told by Mirza Ghalib. And he said, न था कुछ तो खुदा था. न था कुछ means जब मैं. न था कुछ तो खुदा था. कुछ न होता तो खुदा होता. डुबोया मुझको होने ने. न मैं होता तो क्या होता. So the so-called Muslim Shair Mirza Ghalib 150 साल पहले, he actually said about Advaitvad, then I and God were one. And this is like Duboya Mujhko Hone Ne means that the mere act of existing in this world separated me from God. Otherwise, I would have been God.
Absolutely.
So this is what our Indian.
Yes. Yeah, and I think his place of worship was also this Khwaja Mohyuddin Chishti, and that's a seat of Sufism also.
For me also it was like same ki she has already found herself wherever she is and she is happy there. So
Yeah.
why would she enter?
Yeah, and that's why again, gateless gate. Yeah. Okay, now the last one, and there was a choice of 3 or 4. I've just picked up randomly one. This is the last one. It's really going to chew the brains. As the roof was leaking, a Zen master told 2 monks to bring something to catch the water. Okay? As the roof was leaking, a Zen master told 2 monks to bring something to catch the water. One brought a tub, another brought a basket. The first one was severely reprimanded, and second one was highly praised.
So subjective reality could be, so what is their experience and what is mine?
Yeah.
Could be very different.
Okay. So even for this one, there is no explanation. It's just leaves with imagination, reflection, contextualizing. So while doing that, what happens is that brain is not thinking about the next call, about the next sale, next billing, next, like yoga at 6 o'clock in the morning. Brain is thinking about this. Oh my God! I mean, why? For example, why reprimand? I mean, brought the bucket, right? What tub? So what's the problem? And the basket, design of the basket, is it wide or deep? That's the perspective. Is it about letting the water flow? So what is it? I mean, oh my God, what would it mean? And that's where I would close this with what J. Krishnamurti said. The truth is a pathless land. So while I was I got interested into this, and it has really helped me in developing my reflective practice. Because otherwise what happens is that if you, so in meditation, what do? Focus on your breath, focus on your body's sensation, yeah? Focus on any sound. Or in Vigyan Bhairava Tantra, they have given 112 verses, they call it dharna, that I'll talk about it someday. So you focus on one thing, one pointed meditation, so that your mind becomes still. But that may take a lot of time to still the mind. Yeah. Till then, what? So I found this is a way that my brain patterns are broken. I'm not, sometimes it looks so complicated or so simple but stupid. Why am I even thinking about it? So in that, suddenly I realized that there is a refreshment happening. Press F5 if you have a Windows-based laptop. There's refreshment happening, and then I realized, okay, I can really focus on the task at hand. And so I was also looking for, is there like symbolism? Is there a way to think? So I found one, guideline. Of course, I'll share this with all of you. They say that when you are reflecting on a Zen koan, look for 2-3 things. look for the thing. I mean, say for example, polishing the brick. So what is the action? What is the thing? And who are the people? And then if you focus on these three things, and whatever answer comes for you would be mostly an appropriate answer, but because there is no wrong or right answer, from your brain to stop thinking and have one pointed meditation while reflecting on this itself is good enough. So while trying to find an answer is the answer or the focus of Zen koans.
Very interesting session. Thank you, first of all. And very topic close to my heart as well. As you know, I mean, whenever I talk about meditation, I tell people that it is like, our brain is like the monkey, a drunken monkey.
Yeah.
And meditation, you try to tame the monkey. In mindfulness, you observe the monkey. In what you're saying, there is one question that I have found which worked with me, but I don't know where I found. If anyone knows, help me please. To still the mind, wherever you're doing, whatever you're doing, close your eyes and ask yourself, let me see what is the next thought that the mind is bringing up. And next thought, my mind is bringing up.
Yeah.
And you will see for a few seconds, there's a gap, which does not happen usually. So I've read it somewhere and it worked for me. So whenever I feel fogged, I close my eyes and ask, let me see what is the next thought that is coming up to me.
Yeah.
And I found there are no thoughts for some time. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
anyone knows, where is it from? I
And
forgot.
expanding that time
Okay.
is the ultimate objective.
Yes.
So, and that leads to the spectator awareness or a witness awareness. That who are you, is noticing the thoughts. Generally, there is no gap between a thinker and a doer. So I say that I am an observer, I am not the doer.
Okay.
And the gap will increase.
Okay, I like the term
Yeah,
spectator
absolutely.
awareness.
Wonderful.
So it was interesting to watch everybody's idea of meditation. I actually kind of agree a little bit with Ujjwalji when he said that you have to be the spectator, because I'm somebody who meditates and I don't try and focus on anything, but I allow all of my thoughts to flow. But when I come out of it, I actually realize that I did not know where I was. And that has always been my experience with meditation. It starts on its own and it also ends on its own. I have no control over it. When I'm ready for it to finish, I mean, whenever it's ready, I just kind of know it's done. So I kind of agree with what he said, that I don't try and focus on anything, but I actually allow everything to move and flow. And I'm a spectator, and it's interesting to watch it from the outside.
Don't even try to stop or control or anything.
Exactly.
Just let it
Yeah,
flow.
and that actually kind of takes you somewhere else.
I would like to ask you that whether what is the difference between Zen koans and the spiritual and the Vedanta and the Vedas and the scriptures, because that always tells you, what you should do and probably what you don't. I mean, there is an area of reflection, but there is a defined path, and whereas Zen koans does not really seem to have a defined path as I'm talking to you. So, I mean, should I think of bridging that gap or just let the two things be where they are?
Yeah, so I think I can answer that in this way. Immediately what comes up to me is, so when there's a defined path, okay, that this is what you should do, this is what you should not do, right? So which also means that you refer to that guidance and don't think, follow. Then also your thinking process, burden of thinking reduces. You just have to refer to the norms, like in manufacturing, especially in pharma, as they say, that you do as it is written and you write what you have done. So means you take yourself out of the equation, you become the executor and execute as per the norms, and if there is any deviation, report. Right? They call it data integrity. right? So in this whole process, even Vedas, scriptures also, ultimately it was made for everyday people, that if they don't have to be educated so much, just tell them what to do, right? So if they follow the path without applying their brains, without bringing their thoughts, egos in the equation, then they will also ultimately meet there, right? But in that case, I am following what is told to me, and I have to believe what is told to me, right? Now, in Advaita philosophy or even in Zen, they are saying that you don't have to follow anything. Just look inside and see what's there. And then rather than follow, they focus on flow. So if I don't follow anything, what do? I feel that I don't have to follow even myself. Like what Rajat said, that if I am not following anything, I will find myself. And as they say that, there is this famous story shared by Ramana Maharshi also, and just that is leading to this, that there was one child who was running in lot of heat, summer afternoon, was running. So mother said, the child was sweating and crying also. So what are you doing? Said, I want to catch my shadow. And tried hard, not happening. Mother also got worried. Their grandmother came. What do you want to do? I want to catch my shadow. Absolutely, you will be able to catch in 1 minute. But then will you please sit down and study? Child said, yes. If I am able to catch this man, I will sit down and study. Put your hand on your head. And child got happy.
What I also feel is, so I was just reading something just on the Christmas. I went to a seclusion place and there's a book when it says that, differentiation between thought and thinking. He says thinking is the root cause of all, and it's a long thing. What I realize is that the real understanding starts when your intellect ends.
Yeah.
And in this exercise, what I found was the intellect is still trying to figure out, what's the right answer? Whether we say it or not, in our head, it's always going, have I found the right answer? Have I not found the right answer? Is it what the Zen master meant? And although it was clearly stated in the beginning that it is only the reflective process, right? So in a way, I love this exercise because it kind of reinforced that, don't overestimate human intellect or your intellect.
Yeah.
Because the real understanding actually is, that's the limit. Uske baad hi shuru hota hai.
Yeah.
And I saw that intellect playing the games, what's the right answer? It's kind of.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Amazing.
Oh, most welcome. And on that also there is a koan. Okay, if I can narrate quickly. So, what is this Zen path? So, the Zen master replied that a man with open eyes jumping into the well. Yeah? So, which means that walking knowingly into the space of unknown, and you know that it's going to take you deep inside and there is no returning path, but still with open eyes, you're going inside.